So I am an open book, and I feel like I have had to learn the hard way that not everything needs to be shared, not everything needs to be stated, not everything needs external and outside opinions. Have you ever shared a piece of information and you regretted it because then it's like, okay, wait, now these people have this information on my life? Or have you shared, information about something you were excited for prematurely and then that thing didn't happen and then you looked a little bit silly because you went and told everybody about it? Yeah, I have. I'm not even gonna lie, my hands are up. Like, I definitely am talking to myself here and I'm talking about myself here. But there was this video from one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name's Haley Gamba, and she did a video on privacy and the importance of using it in your life, especially as just like I am a, young adult, young woman. And I feel like it is so relevant in my life right now. And I just have lately been able to learn the importance of privacy. And I wanted to do my own version and just kind of state the tips and tricks and all of the information that I've been learning about the importance of privacy as an adult, just for protecting your peace, really. So, here are some tips about being private without being too secretive and a closed book. From a young age, I feel like we are taught that honesty is so important when connecting with people, being authentic, and especially in this age of social media where we are almost encouraged and incentivized to share what's going on in our lives, share our inner thoughts. We have social media tools that really do encourage you to share whatever is on your mind and all the inner workings of your life. But I feel like I was taking this a little too far, and I feel like as a collective we are taking this a little bit too far and oversharing information that just doesn't need to be stated. As somebody who really values connecting with people and values authenticity, I am learning that I can still be open, I can still connect with people without oversharing my life business for all the inner workings of my life to be out there for everybody to know. So what I have had to learn was that privacy does not equate secretiveness or being shut off from the world and not connecting with people. Privacy is an incredible way to set boundaries with other people in your life and protect your peace. If anything, if you were taking one thing from this video, just know that protecting your privacy and not oversharing anything protects your peace. People, and especially the internet, oh my goodness, the internet and strangers online do not need to know the inner workings of your life or of your business or of your family drama or of your relationship drama or your friend drama or whatever it is. The internet and strangers do not need to know this. And I feel like because this is just the world that we're living in now with social media, we have so much access to it. We're not always thinking about who is on there. I want us to start acknowledging that not everything online needs to be stated. For example, if you get into a fight with your partner and you say, you know what, I'm going to make a tweet about this, I'm going to make a post about this, and you go to the internet and say something that everyone can kind of easily decode as you being angry at your partner. Now everyone's in your business and we know that you're fighting. Why do we need to know this? And especially, I don't know, I feel like 20 years ago we didn't have this access to everyone so intimately. And you had to keep up with people just through having their phone number, right? Or actually having them in your lives. And now because of social media, I feel like we have a lot of people that have access to viewing our stuff without them actually being present in our lives or without us actually having relationships with them. So I want you to ask yourself next time you feel like sharing something that might be a little more intimate, do I need Sam from seventh grade to know this information about me? Because once it's out there, it cannot be taken down. That's one thing they did teach us in school when the internet was starting to boom and flourish and all of that stuff, was that once you post something on the internet, it is there forever. It is there forever. You can delete it. Somebody saw it. Someone could have screenshotted it. It is on there. So let's just be mindful of that. Now, some of the harm that I found oversharing has done in my life is, I feel like I was relying on the opinions of others way too much. There was a time in my life where if I had a problem with anything, if I had relationship troubles or whatever it was, I would immediately go to my friends and tell them everything and then seek advice for them. And for somebody who was really working on trying to trust themselves, believe in their own decisions and all of those things, me having outside opinions from so many different people did not help the situation. So to put it in perspective, let's say that you are in a situation and you feel like you kind of know what you want to do, but you don't exactly know. So you would go and seek advice. what would happen for me was that I would hear multiple opinions about multiple things, and then I would then question if I felt what I was really feeling, if my feelings were actually valid before the feelings that I had before I went and spoke to a bunch of people about what was going on. It definitely hurt me more than it helped me, because then I was inviting unwanted opinions um into my life, because at the end of the day, you know yourself best. You are the only one walking in your shoes. So even if you are seeking advice from other people in your life that do care about you, they are not in the situation that you're in. They are not you. They don't know all of the details. They don't have all of the information. And there just isn't, you don't have to seek advice for everything. That is something I had to learn the hard way. Whenever anything small happened in my life, even when I felt like I knew what I wanted to do, I knew how I felt, I would still go and tell people and kind of gauge their opinion on something just to confirm or validate what I was feeling. And no more of that. We do not need external people, outside opinions, to validate how we're feeling. You can validate yourself. I'm sure you've seen it too, where people online have overshared because they feel like, the world needs to know their opinion on something or whatever it is, and they've lost their jobs over it. They've lost their jobs over it. And another example is, oh, and I love her down so bad, I really do, but I would watch Red Table Talk a lot, and Jada Pinkett Smith, of course, would, I'm sure was doing her best to be authentic on the show and share her stories so that, we would be able to learn from each other and just connect, over real life experiences. But what I found was that sometimes I think she would be really authentic and maybe overshare in some areas about some things. And then the internet would kind of go and like pick apart what she was saying and run with it. And now everyone has this opinion on her life, on her relationship dynamic, or whatever it might be. And, it sucks, but I'm realizing, if she is the one that said it herself, it's not that somebody came and like was like secretly taking down what was going on in her life. She freely shared information with people, and the internet and the viewers of that show. And unfortunately, it got to some people that just wanted to, I think, cause drama. And now, even to this day, even though this happened years ago, to this day, I still see people, when they do mention her, they do mention some of the oversharing that she did and just kind of make jokes about it. And I just don't want that to be us. And this is something that I am also working on as well. Now that we are aware of just what oversharing can do, I have some tips that we can use that will help us to not feel like we have to go run and tell everyone our whole business, and just create more peace. And the first one is that when you are asked questions that you are uncomfortable with, you can, politely decline people without saying outwardly no. So some things that you can say, if someone asks you a question you don't really feel comfortable answering, you can say, for example, I'm still figuring it out, I haven't decided yet. Or if you do want to be bold, and you just really don't care, you can say that I'm just not comfortable answering that question. I used to like really criticize my mom for this, because she is someone who can be very blunt, and I feel like I'm the opposite of that. And we would be in public sometimes and people would ask her questions, and me being someone who didn't want to like, upset people or just wanted to be polite, I would be someone that would answer, but she would be like, I'm not comfortable answering that. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, mommy, can you like can you like soften up a bit? Like, you don't have to be so rigid. But you know what, she had a point, because why do people have to know all of your business? Why do people have to know how much money you're making? Little things like that. So just be comfortable with politely declining or finding ways to answer a question without giving too many details. So if someone's like, how much money do you make? Or how do you fund your lifestyle? You can say, well, I manage my money well. Simple things like that. Or I make enough to fund the life that I want, and it can end there. Now, the second piece of advice that I can give you for becoming more private is that if you feel like seeking advice from people around you, your friends, your family, or even people on the internet about the most recent encounter that you've had, journal about it first and see how you feel, sleep on it, and then see if you still feel like talking to people or going and running to the internet. Ask yourself truly if it's that you want guidance and support, or if you are seeking validation. Because what I did a lot of the time was I would, I would kind of know what I wanted to do in a situation and how I felt about a situation and what my next steps would be. But because I wanted that validation, I would go and I would tell somebody, and, weeks would pass and I ended up doing what I wanted to do anyways. So the advice was almost pointless. And now I just have an extra person that knows information about me that maybe they didn't have to know. I do feel like sometimes we do kind of run to tell people or run to tell the internet because we want our opinion or our values echoed back to us. We want to be validated and we want it to be told that, we are right in whatever the situation is, or in our feelings or in our actions. And I want us to get to a point where we don't feel like we need to do that anymore and we can validate ourselves and our opinions with whatever situation is going on. So if you do have a situation, instead of immediately running to go tell somebody else or tell the internet, which please, let's chill on that. Journal about it. Sit with yourself, sit in the feelings. It might be uncomfortable, but it has to be done. Sleep on it and see how you feel the next day. And if you have written it out and you're like, you know what, I think I do know what I want to do. I think I do know how I want to move forward and I know how I feel. Don't tell anybody. Now, the third tip for becoming more private in your life is, and this one is specifically for our egos, but it is to resist the urge to prove. When you are secure in a situation, you don't have to state it. You don't feel the need to let people know. So, for example, I have an incredible friend group. I have incredible friends in general in my life, and I'm so thankful for that and them. But, I am not here every time I hang out with somebody or I receive a great text from one of my friends. I am not running to the internet to tell them how incredible my friends are and to let everybody know and scream it from the rooftops that I have incredible friends. And of course, I am so proud of this and I value them so much. But because I am so secure in the dynamic that I have with them, in the relationships that I have in my life, I don't feel like I need to prove it to anybody else, because what does that do for me? If I already know that I have good friends, why do I need to show people online or tell other people about it so they can echo back to me the same thing that I already know? When you are comfortable in yourself and you are secure in whatever it is, it could be a relationship, it could be finances, it could be your career, it could be whatever it is. Once you are secure in that, you don't necessarily feel the need to go and have to try and prove anything to anybody. And I'm not saying just like not to share good things that happen to you. Of course, do that. But if it's become habit, it's become routine for you to, anytime something good happens, even if it's minor and you feel like you have to run and tell somebody, you have to run and post about it, ask yourself, what are the reasons that I'm actually posting this? Am I genuinely happy and I feel secure about this? Or do I want people to know for validating reasons? And it is a bit of a tough question to ask yourself, but I think we need to, just be a little more self-aware in this situation. In that context, I know there have been times that I used to do this a lot, and I'm happy that I'm at a place where I don't feel like I have to do that anymore. And now the fourth tip that I have for you is to not process everything out loud when you are trying to be more private. When I was in high school and I was going through something, I would immediately share the situation and my feelings about what was going on while I was going through it with my friends. And what would happen would be, I'd feel the heat of the moment. I'd be like, guys, guess what happened? This situation happened. Let's say, for example, it was with my partner. And I was like, oh my gosh, they did this. And I'm so mad. And I would get riled up and then they would get riled up. And time would pass and then I would calm down and I would be like, okay, maybe I could have, acted a little bit differently in the situation. Maybe my partner had a point, with whatever they were doing. Whatever it is, I would calm down and it wouldn't feel as serious. But it was too late, because then I had already riled up all of my friends. And of course, because they care about me, they were like, no, we're doubling down. We're doubling down. You were just complaining to us about this person the other day and now you're happy. I don't want to hear about it. Right? So just learn to process things internally, or not internally. Okay, I'm going to read with that. Learn to process things in a way that does not require you to tell everybody about it, to cause this big commotion about it. Learn to look within and see how you feel about a situation, process your emotions in private, and start relying on yourself to figure these things out, to navigate these difficult situations. It's okay to share something. It's okay to go through something privately and then share it afterwards, after you've made your decision, after things are set in stone and the dust has settled. Then of course, feel free, if you want to share, why not? But inviting all of these opinions and just external factors into your situation, I don't think it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. I don't think it does. So being a private person is something that I feel like I've only recently really valued and seen the importance in. And I feel so much more peace knowing that people on the internet or people that I'm not super close with don't know all the inner workings of my life, because then I don't invite space for random opinions of people, because I'm not going to act like, hearing an opinion doesn't impact me at all. Sometimes it does, and I am working through this, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that as well. Like, sometimes opinions do impact us, and I want to be able to live my life as authentically as I can for me without having to consider everyone else's emotions. I want us to reclaim our energy through quiet confidence, because true confidence is felt and it does not need to be stated. There is no one to prove anything to. This is your life. And I don't want us to feel like we have to share all of the intimate details with people immediately so we can connect with them. It's okay to sit in silence with people that you don't know that well. It's okay to connect with people on other things, but we don't need to go and run and spill all of the beans on the inner workings of our life and all of our traumas and all of the drama we're going through. So I would love to know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys private people? I feel like I'm an open book, but I'm working on still being an open book, but not having everyone know everything about me. Yeah. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so bad for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.